They campaigned on deporting 20 million illegal immigrants when there has only been about 10 to 11 million. They campaigned on targeting violent gangs and rapists. But DHS's own data shows 72% of current detainees have no criminal conviction. And the ones that do have a criminal conviction, most of them are non-violent. But here is where things get really abysmal no matter which side of the aisle you are on this issue. This operation is a failure because it is a massive, massive waste of taxpayer money. Money that's being taken away from health insurance subsidies for low-income individuals. By DHS's own data, it costs $17,000 to arrest, detain, and deport someone out of America. It costs $165 per person per day just to detain them. And if you think those numbers are high, just look at the numbers for state-run facilities. We're talking Speedway Slammer, for example, costs $291 per day, and Alligator Alcatraz costs $249 per day. These numbers are especially frustrating when you consider that DHS's own program, Alternatives to Deportation, costs only $4 per day. They put an ankle monitor, they monitor where your whereabouts, and you can go back to work, you can live with your family and live a life of dignity. People that are not criminals and have supplemented at least $1.7 billion in tax money to this country. 90+% contracts were going to Geo Group or Core Civic, two private prisons. The executive leadership comes directly from former ICE leadership, like Daniel Bible. Tom Homan, before he rejoined ICE, was a consultant for these companies. This is obviously a very big conflict of interest. Just like Stephen Miller throwing loads of investment money into those companies right before these policies took place. And Tom Homan, of course, taking that bag of $50,000 from people who he thought were private prison executives. But now Kristi Noem and her second banana, Corey Lewandowski, want to make sure that they review who is grifting all of these special interests. So they are personally approving contracts over $100,000, which, if you know anything about government agencies, is a lot of contracts. They spend a lot of money. So much for this government of efficiency they tried to sell us, huh? Now, with these delays and pauses in contracts with private prisons, they are upset and they're fighting back. They're spreading rumors that Kristi Noem is giving all the contracts to red state governors to boost her bid for a vice presidential pick in 2028. Government agency leaders are saying that private prison executives are ripping off taxpayers and wasting money. It's a civil war between private prisons who thought that they would get all these contracts, were telling their investors how this was going to be such a profitable year from them, how they invested and funded in the building of these private prisons that are mostly empty, and the state prisons who provide less beds, more money, less habitable conditions. It doesn't make anything easier for ICE officers becoming antagonists in this government grift. They're becoming scapegoats for bad policy and are actively recruiting Trump loyalist psychos. It doesn't make communities safer if they can't go to court or communicate and contact law enforcement. And it doesn't make America great again when we take billions away from healthcare and put it in the pockets of private prison industrialists. It's a broken operation, it's a bad policy, and it's run by unqualified cronies.